Eh, anyway, another day of being frustrated. I actually smashed a $300 computer thing I used to use for diagnosing obd1 systems. Because I've just gotten tired of people. You hook up the thing, you tell them, okay, it's. So, what really just pissed me off the last time was it was a Chevy Astrovan, 1994, with 325,000 kilometers on the clock, on the odometer. So code 43 is the knock sensor. Now, on a 4.3 liter Vortec, the first thing you check is engine noise, because that will turn on the knock sensor if it's the right frequency. So I pull the oil cap off with the engine running, and there's enough. The valve lifters are definitely done. So you get a tick 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 tick. That's more than enough to set that sensor off. And I know people are going to argue with me in the comments, but yeah. It's not like haven't seen this rodeo before. So what I used to do with Astrovans, because the thing is, you want the engine light to work when it needs to come on, right? So what I used to do was I would wrap the knock sensor in foam. I'd leave it connected. I'd just wrap it in foam. I'd tie it or knot it up somewhere. So, and that would usually get rid of the code 43. And like I said, I did stick my ear into the guy's. There's a tube coming up from the oil pan for putting oil in. So I listened to that, got the valve noise. Okay, not even gonna bother. You don't need an O2 sensor, it's just valve noise, get used to it. I said the only other thing, if you want to get rid of the thing, just tie the sensor off. Just wrap it in some foam, tape it somewhere, done. Guy goes and buys a new knock sensor. Because he doesn't want to hear the answer. And see, what I hate is I was recommended to him by a friend, and then him and my friend are ganging up on me saying, "Oh, these engines never wear out." And it's like, Jesus, these engines will last like 500,000 K easy, but you have to get rid of the knock sensor at some point because it is going to start detecting noise. Because it, and one of those Vortex 4.3 liters past 220 is going to make noise, right? At 325, it's definitely going to be making noise. And it's just frustrating because the customer's saying, "Oh, you're just guessing," and I'm just like, these are the four things it can be. Okay, so it can be the sensor, it can be the wiring harness, and the wiring harness in this car has been bodged with in the past. It can be the electronic spark control, or it can be the ECM. All right. Engine runs fine. So the electronic spark control and the ECM are probably good to go. And there's no other codes that would say anything different. So, it's a knock sensor. And it's not the knock sensor, it's detecting pinging, which is what it's designed to do. It's just detecting more than it should be because, like I said, the engine's old. And the biggest problem I have with OBD1 systems, is that I can't get live data out of most of them. And that helps so much because you can show a customer, look at this curve, this is what this means, blah, 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 blah. On an OBD1 system, you don't really have a lot of options. Unless, of course, you've got the, $250,000 machine the dealership had. And if I had $250,000, I guarantee you I wouldn't be working on old shit. And I've had this problem with a few people. I told one guy, you need a new head. It was a BMW. I did the Checked it. Yeah, you need a new head. Your head's done. I said the car's got 400K. You're not going to put a new head on an old motor. Didn't like to hear that. Went off to another mechanic, two injectors, another mechanic, fuel pump, another mechanic, something else. And finally, the cylinder head just decided to pack it in. One of the valves broke and went in between the head and the piston, so that did a lot of damage to the head of the piston. And then he comes back to me, and he's got the. This is what I don't understand. Either people are really stupid or really forgetful. Because he starts complaining, why didn't you tell me the cylinder head was going? And I'm like, I told you the cylinder head was going a year and a half ago. And then you went and spent all this money correcting problems that weren't there. The problem that was there had nothing to do with the fuel injectors, had nothing to do with the fuel pump, had nothing to do with any of that stuff. The engine itself was bad because it had 400,000 K on it. It was clapped out. But you didn't like that. So you spent another, I don't know what he spent, probably another 6,000-7,000 on repairs. On something that's just, it's dead. It's dead and gone. But it's never, oh, why didn't the other guy check? It's always, why didn't you check? I did check. I told you it was bad. So I've decided I'm not going to work on anything anymore engine-based because I might work on an obd2 system, but then, like I said, the car's got to have less than 200,000 on it because, like I said, most of the issues you're dealing with when you're talking about a car that's that old, like that's got more than 200,000 on it, there's something wrong with the engine itself. Not all the time, obviously, but most of the time. A good portion of the time. Because the nice thing, too, about obd2 systems, you can do live data. They'll tell you, a lot of times obd2 systems, especially the newer, like 2015 and newer, will tell you which cylinders got the issues. So you just concentrate on that one cylinder. And sometimes too, it'll say faulty injector, but then you do a compression test on that cylinder, you realize, nope, needs a new motor. The customer doesn't want to hear that, so they'll go somewhere else, they'll get a new injector put in, which doesn't fix the problem, because it's not the injector, or the spark, because nowadays coils right on top of the spark. It's not either of those two. It's just the cylinder's bad. Like, you gotta fix the engine. You're fixing stuff that's not the cause. And people are like that. And then they'll come back to me at some point and be mad. Like, why didn't you tell me? I did tell you. You just didn't want to hear what I had to say. So I'm just done with mechanical shit altogether. I don't care. If somebody wants me now, it's $1,000 an hour minimum. Because I'm just done. I'm done dealing with cheap assholes who think they know everything and their friends. Like, God, just shut the fuck up already. Sorry, I shouldn't have said that word, but it's like, just shut up and listen. And if you don't like what my answer is, then you shouldn't have asked the question. I mean, I can't help it. If your engine's clapped out, that's not my fault. I'm just going to tell you your engine's clapped out. I told the guy not to, with the Chevy Asher 94, I told him, don't get a knock sensor. You don't need a knock sensor. Just, foam tape the old one, hang it off somewhere, and then it won't detect the knock anymore. Nope, goes up, buys a new knock sensor. Like I said, people are such morons. Just shut up and listen. Like I stuck my ear in the damn, over the filler pipe. So I know it's making noise. But that's not good enough. Oh, you're just guessing. No, I'm not just guessing. I know. You know, I told them the four things it can be. I told them we can eliminate three of them. You know, the fourth one, there's nothing wrong with the knock sensor, so the engine mustn't be making enough noise to set it off. I just hate my life. I don't know. I just hate dealing with stupid people who think they know everything. You know, I hate dealing with people who think, oh, I did my oil changes. Yes, you did, and the engine sounds fine. It's just, like I said, it's old. You got it to 325,000. Congratulations. It's a GM 4.3 liter Vortec in a van that weighs what, 6,000 pounds, 6,000 pounds. Like, sorry, it's being asked to do a lot. I don't know. Like I said, I'm tired. I'm in pain all the time. And then, like I said, I got to deal with dickheads. I was just going to do diagnostics, and I'm not even going to do that because people just don't want to hear the truth.